My name is Gerald. I was married to Karen for 5 years, and honestly, I never imagined things would fall apart the way they did. We met at work. I was running logistics for a regional supply company, and she came in as a marketing consultant. From the start, Karen was sharp, confident, and unapologetically herself. No games, no pretenses. She knew who she was and wasn't waiting for anyone's validation. I admired that about her immediately. After the project ended, we kept in touch. Coffee meetups turned into dinners, and dinners stretched into weekends together. It felt easy, comfortable, like we fit without effort. 3 years later, we got married. The first couple of years were solid, not the fairy tale kind, but steady and real. We weren't the overly romantic movie-type couple, but we had a rhythm. I kept things running smoothly day to day, and she kept us focused on what was next. It wasn't fiery passion, but it was balanced, and for a time, that was enough. But around the fourth year, I started noticing small changes. Karen began taking more out-of-town consulting gigs. She said they were short contracts, extra money for our future. I didn't push back. We'd always been independent people, and I respected that. Then came the locked phone, the hushed calls in hallways, her laptop suddenly needing a password again. I shrugged it off at first, thinking maybe she just wanted some boundaries. Everyone needs that. But the little signs kept piling up. Alone, they meant nothing, but together they painted a different picture. I remember one night vividly. She came home late from a strategy dinner, didn't even look at me, dropped her bag, headed straight for the shower. When I asked about the meeting, she didn't turn around and just said, "Fine, just tired." That was it. I didn't realize then, but something had quietly shifted between us. After that, things didn't explode. They slowly unraveled. Karen stopped leaving her phone on the counter, started keeping it face down. She wasn't acting guilty, just distant. Calls went to voicemail. Texts shrunk to one-word replies like busy or later. I told myself it was stress, that consulting was consuming her, and she'd come back once the heavy workload eased. But that stretch became our new normal. One evening, I made dinner. Her favorite pan-seared salmon. Candles lit. Just a simple night try to reset us. I called her to let her know. No answer. I texted, "I made something for us tonight. Just us. Let me know when you're on your way." Silence. Hours passed. When she finally called back, her voice was flat, detached. "I can't make it," she said. "Why not?" I asked. "I have a date," she answered casually, like reading from a calendar. I waited, confused. She laughed too quickly. "Not like that. I'm grabbing drinks with some people from the office. Work thing." I didn't press, but that sentence stuck with me. We barely sat on the same couch anymore. Conversations became check-ins, grocery lists, schedules. No fights, no yelling, just quiet, like living with a polite stranger. I talked to Michael, an old friend who'd known us both since before the wedding. We grabbed a beer to clear my head. He looked at me and said, "Are you sure Karen being busy is all it is? Sometimes, when people act like this, there's something they don't want you to see." I hated hearing it, but knew he was right. I needed clarity, not guesses or gut feelings. So I watched more closely, not out of paranoia, but to see what was right in front of me. One night, Karen came home late again, dropped her bag, went to the shower without a word. Her phone was almost dead. I grabbed her charger and plugged it in. A name flashed on the screen, Darren Caldwell. Then a message, "Can't stop thinking about you." I didn't touch the phone. I just watched the message disappear. She'd mentioned Darren before, just a colleague on a project. But now, that name meant something else. The next evening, we sat in the living room. She was glued to her phone, curled up on the other side of the couch. I said, "I don't know who you talked to all day, but it sure as hell isn't me." She didn't look up, just muttered, "You're being dramatic, Gerald." I let it hang in the air. "Are you seeing someone?" She paused, the smallest break in her composure, then put the phone down and looked at me. "Wow, that's where you're at now. Accusations." "It's a question," I said. "Maybe I am," she said like it was a dare. "Maybe I'm talking to someone who actually listens, who doesn't treat me like a calendar notification, I didn't blink or ask who. I already knew Darren Caldwell, but she didn't know I was onto her, and that made it worse. I stood up slowly, looking at her for a long moment. She held her ground, like someone who'd already rewritten the ending and cast herself as a victim. I nodded once. "Okay, that's it." She asked, "That's it?" "Yeah," I said. "This is the last time you'll win a conversation with me." She turned away and went back to her phone. I walked to the kitchen and stared at the floor, knowing exactly what had just happened. That night, I didn't sleep. I waited until she was in bed and logged into our shared phone account. Our numbers were still on the same plan. There was call logs and texts with Darren Caldwell, not just during the day, but at night, on weekends, steady and consistent. I stared at the screen, stunned. Not angry yet, just stunned at how neatly it all lined up. The next morning, I made coffee and sat across from her at the table. "I know about Darren," I said. She didn't flinch. She put down her mug slowly. "What do you mean?" "The late calls, the texts, the weekend messages. His name lighting up your phone." Her eyes dropped for a second, then met mine again. "It's not what you think." "Then tell me what it is." "We talk. He listens. It's not physical." "Not really." "Not really?" I repeated. She leaned back. "I was going through things. I didn't think you'd understand." "You didn't try to," I said. Karen's voice sharpened. "You've been distant too, Gerald. Robotic. Always focused on the next task. Fixing things. Managing everything like I'm just another job." I nodded. "So that's what this is, a reaction?" "It wasn't planned, but you stayed with both of us." Karen went quiet. I stood up. "I'm not yelling or begging. Don't mistake my calm for weakness." She looked at me like she didn't recognize a man in front of her. "I'll cut it off," she said quietly. I didn't answer. I just looked at her for a moment, then walked away. That night, I slept in the guest room. She didn't knock. I think she finally knew I wasn't bluffing. The next few days were strange. Karen didn't mention Darren again, and neither did I. She started acting sweeter, making breakfast, asking about my day, leaving sticky notes on the fridge with smiley faces. It wasn't affection. It was damage control. One night, she sat next to me on the couch, hand on my leg. I didn't move. She whispered, "I miss us." I stared at the TV. You missed a version of me that didn't ask questions. Her hand lingered a moment, then slid away. I kept my routine tight. Early mornings, late gym sessions, long drives to clear my head. Karen noticed. She tried to act normal, but her energy was all over the place. She'd stopped using the lock screen, maybe thinking I'd given up, or maybe she was just careless. Either way, it told me everything I needed to know. The next evening, I checked her phone again, not to snoop, but to confirm what I already suspected. She hadn't stopped talking to Darren. His name was different now, saved as DC Marketing, but the messages were the same, flirty, hidden beneath fake project details. She was just smarter now, not cleaner. Then I saw it. A single reply from Darren. The same night, I told her I knew. She'd whispered, "I'll cut it off." Darren wrote back, "Did you cry a little to make it feel real?" Her reply, "Didn't have to. He's too naive to question it." That was how she saw me. She looked me in the eye, promised honesty, and behind my back, she thought I was a fool. Scrolling back, I found another message from the night I made dinner. The night she joked about a date and said it was just drinks with people from work. She wasn't joking. She was with him. I didn't confront her. I didn't ask for explanations or performance of guilt. I quietly started preparing. I met with a lawyer, found a short-term rental across town, and began moving essentials, documents, clothes, personal things, little by little. She didn't notice, or maybe she pretended not to. One quiet Wednesday morning, I packed the last of my things into the car and left my key on the counter with a note. "You already left." I just finally believed it. By the time Karen read the note, I was halfway across town, unloading boxes into my new apartment. She called twice. I didn't answer. Then came the text. "Where are you? We can talk." "Gerald, please. This isn't how we fix things." I left them unread. That night, Around 9, she showed up at my apartment. I hadn't given her the address, but somehow she found it. She knocked for 5 minutes straight, then stood silently. I watched through the peephole. She looked like she was crying, or at least close to it. "Gerald, can we please talk?" she whispered. I spoke through the door, calm but firm. "There's nothing left to say. Karen, this is my fault. I know that, but we've been through too much to just end it like this." "You ended it," I said. "I'm just making it official." She pressed her forehead against the door. "I didn't think you'd actually leave." And there I was, breathing quietly for the first time in months, feeling like I'd found my balance again. The next morning, I woke up to 20 unread messages. Apologies, justifications, anger, nostalgia. Then the shift. Friends started reaching out, one by one. "Hey man, Karen told me what happened. She says you overreacted." "I heard you,